So here I am again. The word narcissistic plays in my head, and I always get really agitated when I see how many people abuse it because they're projecting it out into the world. And the more we project it out there, the clearer it is that it actually should be a call to self-reflect, to say, where is my narcissistic personality aspect in me? We all are narcissistic. We all have certain aspects within us that are narcissistic. Nobody's perfect, therefore we are. And we have to associate ourselves with those parts rather than projecting it outwards to say that's a narcissist. Because where is the threshold? Where is the tipping point? Someone has a narcissistic personality type and someone who is truly narcissistic. I mean, look at the world. We're living in what we still think of as a democracy, which I completely disagree. By far, we are for a long time that we have transitioned into a dictatorship that's been sold as democracy because all the fundamental tools and mechanisms are still there, but they're completely leveled off or levered out. And the narcissistic personality type fits perfectly in for a certain centralized power system to use politicians, which are their tools, their soldiers, because a narcissist will do anything to stay in the limelight. And as soon as he has reached the point of success or leadership, he will do anything to stay there. He hasn't got the backbone to go into his fall. And this is why the narcissistic personality types that we have, look at our government, look at in Germany. I mean, who is there who still has some balls? Like, depending on wherever the wind comes, they're changing the tack. A narcissist always has a problem that maybe his own morals and beliefs are high as he thinks, but his behavior doesn't match up to it. He doesn't have the self-reflection to see what he's doing. And that's the same there. They're just doing because of whatever it is that keeps them in the position, so that they don't have to accept the wound to say, my God, if I do this, then my ego is really dented and then I will be really hurt. And what the other people think, isn't that always the most important with narcissistic behavior? What will the other people think? And here comes the leverage of the industry, of the power center, because the elections are so quick. So once you're in, the danger is that you're out. And politics is always a certain thing. Like, what is politics nowadays? You get the agenda handed down and you're only a tool of fulfilling or implementing the agenda that some set. Who are the politicians who still work for the people, for the general population? I don't know. Certainly can't be that we go into war with our neighbor. Instead of de-escalizing, we escalate and put even more weapons into it, and we battle onto the same grounds that the war has started, instead of saying, okay, let's change the subject into something else, and try to create peace. Let's go over onto the table of peace and let's talk peace, instead of let's stay on the table where the war started, where war is, and let's communicate there with the words of fighting, of war, of... But narcissistic people are really, really good for that. Wherever you want to implement something and you put someone into place and you give them a job above their punch. So if you say, look, I'll trust you and I'll give you a chance and so on, and you put them in and the job is actually much, much bigger than what they could handle, then you have them by their balls. You have them by the wound, because their wound, their narcissistic trait, doesn't allow them to go into a fall, to go into a decline, to go into resistance with the people around them. So that person cannot do what is right, and he will not do it. Rather, he will do anything, no matter what it is based on a lie or whatever they give them. They will do what it takes to stay in power, because that is his major prerogative. So where we are now, it takes so many narcissistic people, and they're on the top of the pile for the people who choose their employees. Because with them you can do anything. Someone who hasn't got that specific wound to such a great extent that overbears all the other ones and the senses, and those are perfect to do things that are not right. And all the conspiracy theories, this is the best tool that they ever put into place. Because when you know rugby, then they say if you're in defense, it costs you double as much energy than when you attack. So it's really important to get into the attacking force and bring the other one, no matter what, into the defense force. And by calling them conspiracy theorists, you have them straight into a defense position that gives you time, because remember, politics is only the tool to implement the agenda. So what happens here is, as long as you can hide it under a theme of conspiracy theory, you get the people at bay. And what you do then is you play with the time. The time allows you to unroll whatever you're doing into the world, into the market, till you become so powerful, till you become so accepted by it that it's too big to fail. Too much money invested, too much public profile, too many people associated with promoting that are on a narcissistic wound, where they will never be able to say, do you know what, I've made a mistake. So much of our relationships nowadays are built on that wound that we cannot step into vulnerability. We cannot say, hold on, you know what, now it has crystallized, it's not good for me anymore. Or I decided wrong, I made a mistake. Like for me, it was always with the Western society, with the consumer industry. I've been there, I've done it, and I've enjoyed it for many, many years, till I just realized this can't go on like this. This is nonsense. As soon as you participate into that, you sell your soul. Because I know that's not like this and so on, but it is. With all buying the new stuff. I mean, this needs to come somewhere. Their ethics and morals, and they are on the wane. They're just gone. They're eradicated, and we'll find constant new excuses that we don't have to change. So, become aware of every time you hear the word narcissist. And the more often you hear it, the more you should become aware that it is likely that there is a narcissistic aspect in you that wants to be seen, that wants to be felt, that wants to become aware of, that you want to own and integrate into your own being. And this is a good part also. Everything works to the good and to the bad. So I don't see it that bad to be narcissistic. Or to be a narcissist, that's maybe a problem, because that's the extreme part. But to have certain narcissistic aspects within your personality, it's completely okay. So if you can love them If you can, okay, I know, and you want to do this now, so I get you, I'll have your back, no worries, and we'll do that, then that's perfectly okay. But if you sidestep off that and you ignore that fact, and if you ignore it, it just becomes bigger, and it becomes bigger and bigger, and you turn into the victim because this fact will play out on the outside in your projected reality and will become bigger and bigger for you to realize it. So I think this is really, really cool in our world, because we all become the victims by this world, and then projecting out the narcissistic behavior onto other people. So it's time for us to deal with our own thing and saying, okay, where did I do things that I now have to own up to and put my hands up and say, hold on, I'm sorry, I was wrong with that. I maybe didn't do the right decision. Or, yeah, I took the lie. No matter what, how it came. In the Bible it says, bless those who don't know what to do. Which I think is amazing, because you cannot be faulted for something that you did in your best intention and in good faith. But that's not the question at that moment of time. The time is, can you surrender your ego? Can you follow your intuition, your gut feeling, your Holy Spirit? Can you be your own Christ and live by the Christ consciousness to know, it's like, okay, now I need to do this. What has been right yesterday, maybe today isn't anymore. The truth of the morning is the lie of the evening. How beautiful is that? So if we don't adapt to exactly that the path of truth is a narrow path, and it constantly winds and changes and swaps. And if we walk the narrow path, it's like, I always have this vision in all the Harry Potter movies and anywhere where there are demons and there are dragons and there's nasty forces that trying to conquer and kill you and get you out of business or whatever, you'll see that the hero comes to a point where there's a cliff or something like that, and underneath hot molten lava, rocks flowing in the red hot river around it, and you're just like, oh, I can't go on, it's too far to jump. And you look back on all the evil things are coming at you, want to eat you alive, and they will rip you into 1,000 pieces and so on. And then comes a point where you have to trust and you have to have faith. Faith in the Holy Spirit. Faith that you are a God, that you can achieve anything and you can do greater things than even Jesus Christ has done. That's what he said. I have done great things, but you who come after me will do even greater things. And what they do is, as soon as he decides to jump or step one forward into the nothingness, suddenly a secret step is showing up. And as he takes the second step, a secret second step shows up and lifts him up. And he walks over that gap onto the other side. And this is what we have to do. In that moment of time when the whole world is against us, when everything we know, particularly our ego, is going nuts, it's exactly then when we are asked to have faith. Faith in ourselves, in our own unique story, in our own unique journey, that there is a reason of why we have to be individualized, why we have to be different than the masses. Because exactly in this moment of time, we create a story that's worthwhile being told about. And sometimes for that, you need to be narcissistic and says, look, no, I need to do this. I need to be different. Because being different is cool, it's great. And if you wouldn't have that, you couldn't do that. You just have to surrender and let go again. rather than keep going on with a journey that you took, or with a diversion that you took ages ago, and stick by it. No. Every moment of time you're asked, what's my truth now? And yeah, I've trusted the Americans before. Now I wouldn't. Yeah, before I loved the consumer industry. Now I look highly questionable at it. I have, with partners you have been with friends, with brands, with anything. Beforehand you thought they were the bee's knees, and afterwards you realized when the pink goggles came off, maybe okay, I maybe have more projected onto it than it actually was. So watch out. When you're being played with, when you're being used, and they play your fiddle on your narcissistic personality, when they're trying to lift you up artificially so that you feel better, and with that you think, yeah, great, and then watch out that they don't rob you of your soul. There are 1,000 ways, and you need to decide if that's authentic for you. But watch out. Go into your family, into your friends or whatever, and learn to say sorry again. Maybe even if you haven't done something, just try it. How good you are in saying, sorry, was my mistake. Or sorry, I erred. Sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry, I thought differently. You're right. See how good you are in doing it. And particularly the things that really bug you, right? And then take it from there. Because if you can step into vulnerability, your whole life changes. That's just, vulnerability is a tool, because it connects, it brings people back together again, brings them closer. But the narcissistic behavior is just it distances when it becomes excessive. When it's just a twisting and turning, and you just look at it and it's like, oh, hold on, did you not just say yesterday this, and now you're saying this, and now... Anyway, enough of the ramble about that. But I think it's important. It's so quickly abused, the word, and it's so powerful to take it into self-reflection, to say, where are my narcissistic parts playing out in my outside? And as long as you have the feeling that narcissists are playing on you and you're the victim, you have to go into self-reflection, and you have to resolve it on the inside, and be happy and grateful for the people in your life that have come to play out this role for you, this nasty role to play out for you. That's what they decided and signed up with, that they will do for you till you learn the lesson. So be grateful for them, send them love their enemy, and realize what they're there for. They're holding and they're playing back your own projection, and they do that for you. So really important, right? Let's give our good old politicians and whoever are the people that we project our narcissistic traits onto them, let's give them a little bit of love, because I think that's what they need most. That's why they're narcissistic, because somewhere they have been wounded and traumatized by it, and now they play out that way. So if we heal that in ourselves, then there's nothing to project out onto it anymore, and they will change too. That's the law of the projection. And it's the most powerful thing in, because it puts the power right into your court, into each and every one of us. We have the power, each person on their own. Because if I project heaven on earth, or if I have created heaven on earth with me, and I can really truly say, oh, I feel love, and I feel self-love, and I am love, I'm God, then I'm also living in a heaven on earth, in the paradise. And that is ultimately the Christ conscious. If we're aligned with it, alignment is heaven on earth. To stand beside ourselves is just hell on earth. And the universe always works for you, no matter what. And even if the universe trashes and bashes you and slaps you into the face and causes you so much pain and suffering, it still works from the principle of love. Please, please, finally get the lesson and turn back into alignment. That's where I need you. That's what your job is. And that's what my job is, to keep everything in harmony, aligned, in equilibrium. So therefore, please go back, otherwise I need to slap you in the face again. I hope that helped. If not, let me know. Happy to have a chat with you about it and dive into and show you the projections that you may having on some things or certain people in your life, your parents or whatever, that you got stuck in and need to get out of. It's worth it, because you change your world.